Welcome to the Video Professor's Computer Learning Series on CD-ROM. This is the same great lesson that is found on our videotapes. This CD lesson window will always play on top of any application, so you can follow along step by step to learn the program. We have packed this CD with information, and sometimes move at a pace that is faster than you'll be able to follow along with. To help you with this, we have designed the CD to work just like a VCR. You can pause, rewind, or fast forward the CD to learn each part just by clicking the appropriate buttons. From the Table of Contents menu, you can select or review any part of this lesson instantly. For your convenience, a Video Professor icon has been added to your desktop. To view this or future lessons, simply put the CD in your drive and click on this icon to start that lesson. Now, to get started, simply click on the menu item you want to learn. For best results, we suggest you start at the first item and work your way through to the end. Welcome to my second tape on DOS 6.0 and 6.2. If you have version 6.2 on your system, you may notice that some messages on your computer screen may vary slightly from our display. Don't worry, the commands given in this lesson work the same in both versions. In our Getting Started with Your Personal Computer tape, we covered the Format Command to prepare a data disk or system startup disk. We showed you how to use the DOSKEY command to make an exact copy of an entire disk including system files. You learned how to start a program or application. We covered copying and deleting files and the directory command. We also covered directory structures and how to use the DOS shell. Even though we will be working with and reviewing some of these commands, if you are not familiar with these terms, you may want to see my tape Getting Started with Your Personal Computer before working with this tape. For this lesson, I assume your computer has at least an 8386 processor and has been set up with DOS 6.0. You will need a blank formatted disk available for our work. Before we go any further, I'd like to introduce you to my assistant Jan, who will be learning about DOS 6.0 right along with you. Simply follow along with her, and in no time you'll be understanding more of how DOS works. Well, we'd better get busy. We've got a lot to do. Jan, the boot sequence on our machine starts Windows, so please exit Windows to the DOS prompt. Click on File and Exit and click on OK in the Exit Windows box. Viewers, if your boot sequence starts the DOS shell or any other program, please exit it to the DOS prompt so we can all start at the same place. We should be at the root directory of the C drive. Everyone type CD / to make sure you are in the root directory. In the first tape, we covered the DOS shell. This tape concentrates on working at the text-based DOS prompt with DOS commands. Let's briefly review a few DOS concepts. A disk operating system, or DOS, is a set of computer programs that enables you to communicate with your IBM or compatible computer. Everyone put a blank formatted disk in drive A. Type A: and press Enter. We are now in the A drive, and the prompt changes to A:. This DOS command, like any DOS command, asks the computer to do something, like copying files. Do you remember how to do that? Type copy, a space, C:, /config.sys, a space, A:, press Enter, and the file is copied. You need to see what files are stored in each directory. Type dir and press Enter, and there's the copy of config.sys on drive A. DOS commands are easy to use. Just type any command and press Enter to execute it. To return to the C drive, type C:, and press Enter, and you are back in the C drive at the root. At the end of our first tape on Getting Started with Your Personal Computer with DOS 6.0, we had you enter the memmaker command to optimize your computer's use of memory. If you have not run memmaker yet, we will do it again at the end of this tape. Okay, now it's time to start working at the DOS prompt. Let's start with 3 commands which we will explain in more detail later. If you quit this lesson at any time and/or turn your machine off, please re-enter these program commands each time you start the lesson. Turning off your computer turns off these commands. Later in this lesson, when we get to how your computer starts with the Autoexec.Bat file, you may choose to have them start each time you start your computer. Now for our first command to run a program, type DOSKEY and press Enter. The computer should respond with the message DOSKEY install. If after typing DOSKEY you are returned to the command prompt without any messages, DOSKEY is already running. For the next command, type Undelete, a space, /TC. Press Enter and read any messages that appear on screen. This program sets up a way of restoring deleted files to the default drive, C in our case. To start the Undelete program for another drive, type that drive name instead of the C drive we entered. The next command is a way of making DOS show you files exactly the way you want to see them when using the dir command. First type dir and press Enter, and you will see the files and directories on your C drive. They may flash by pretty fast. Let's customize the dir command. Everyone please type set, a space, dir cmd, an equal sign, /ogn/p, and press Enter. Now do a dir, and we now see the directories are listed first, then the files, in alphabetical order, and shown by the page. Let's look a little closer at the directory structures and how to navigate through them. Remember how the DOS shell showed you a picture of the directories on your disk so that you can see the tree structure of how your disk is organized? DOS has a tree command to do almost the same thing. Type tree and the pipe symbol. It's /. Then type more. The more command is much like the /p option in the dir directory command. It shows one screen full of the listing. Press Enter. Viewers, your tree structure will look different than ours. Take a moment to look at yours. Starting at the root directory, we all should have a DOS directory where our DOS files are stored. We have a lot of directories, one for each program group stored on our computer. For example, we see Windows, Lotus 123, and a temp directory. If the tree is bigger than one screen full, press any key to see the rest. The tree command shows you how DOS organizes directories like an upside-down tree. In order to move between the levels of the tree, the computer needs to be told the path of where you want to go.
Professor, I'm still having a little trouble understanding how paths work.
Jan, to demonstrate the principles behind paths, let's look at a DOS roadmap. Imagine each directory is a city, and the paths are the roads connecting them. To get from one city to the next, you have to follow the road to get where you want to go. The root directory is the hub to get to any other branch on the tree. CD/ will always take you to the root. To go to the DOS directory, you would type CD, a space, and DOS to go down the road to the DOS directory. Since we were moving away from the root directory or down the directory tree, we can use a space instead of the \. Now say we want to go to the memo directory connected to the WORDPERFECT directory. Unfortunately, we can't get there without following the path. We have to first move through the root directory to get to the WORDPERFECT directory by typing CD/. That tells DOS to go to the root. Then we type WP to move to the WORDPERFECT directory, and to keep moving down the path to the memo directory, you need to type another / and memo. CD:\/ always takes you back one level to the parent directory. Entering this would take us back to the WORDPERFECT directory. So Jan, can you tell me how to get to the Lotus inventory directory?
I think I got it, Professor. You type CD / Lotus / inventory.
Very good, Jan. The root directory is the parent of all the directories and subdirectories. Its branches for word processing, spreadsheets, and other programs are used to hold these programs. The program directories can have branches to other directories, which can be named to describe the work you keep in them, like Lotus Inventory or WORDPERFECT Memos. Remember we typed in DOSKEY earlier, and DOS went out and found the DOSKEY program and loaded it into memory. Everyone make sure your num's lock key is turned off. Press the up arrow key and you will see the command tree more. which is the last DOS command we entered. DOSKEY remembered your last command and displayed it on the command line. Press the up arrow again and see the dir command you entered before the tree command. Once the command is recalled to the command line, you can either execute it again by pressing enter or edit it to modify the command to suit you. Viewers, if you have been following us step by step, you should see dir on the command line. Press F7 to see a list of the commands you have entered so far. The dir command we did earlier should be in the list, highlighted by a little arrow next to it. Press F9 and it asks line number. Enter the line number to recover the dir command and press enter. Press enter again and we get our directory listing. You can save a lot of time with DOSKEY by calling up and modifying commands. As we continue, we'll show you more about how this useful tool works. So that we all have the same directory structure to store some files in, let's make some directories just for this lesson. Press your up arrow, then add a space after dir. Then type B*** and press enter. This will show you all the directories and files starting with the letter B. Don't be alarmed if you don't see any. We're going to make a BAT directory, and we want to make sure you don't already have one. If you see a BAT directory listed here, you'll need to name the new BAT directory we are going to create, BAT1. The command to make a directory is MD, which stands for Make Directory. Everyone type MD space BAT. If you have a BAT directory, use BAT1 instead. Press enter and nothing apparently happens. Press your up arrow and there is our last command, MD-BAT, with the cursor at the end of the command. Type a backslash and then Jan. Press enter and again nothing seems to happen. We'll show you what is going on in the background in a minute. Let's use DOSKEY to help create some more subdirectories. Press the up arrow key and we see MD-BAT backslash Jan with the cursor at the end. Add backslash business and press enter. With each backslash and directory name, we are adding another subdirectory. Up arrow again, add backslash letters, and enter to create another subdirectory. Up arrow again and backspace to erase letters and type bills and press enter. Press F7 and look for the command that made the business subdirectory. Press F9 and type the number of the command and enter. Left arrow to the B in business and type personal. DOS should be in the type over mode and personal should replace business. If the letters push to the right, press the insert key and edit the line. The insert key controls type over on or off. When the line is correct, press enter. Up arrow once and add backslash letters. Remember to press enter to execute the command. Viewers, as we proceed with our lesson, we will slowly drop our instruction to press enter after every command. We will assume that you know after typing a command that you must press the enter key to execute the command. Now up arrow once more and use your backspace key to erase letters and type in bills to make our last subdirectory. Viewers, remember, if you were to turn your computer off, all the commands you've entered and are stored in the DOSKEY program will be lost. When you restart your computer and continue with the lesson, you will need to type in any commands we retrieve with the DOSKEY program. Also remember to re-enter DOSKEY. The directories we've created so far are stored on disk, however, and will remain there even if you turn the computer off. Now let's see what we've just made with a more specific tree command. Type tree, a space, and BAT. This tells DOS to only display the tree of the BAT directory. It has the Jan subdirectory that has its own subs, business and personal, and each of these directories have their subs, letters, and bills. Any of these directories can hold either files or more subdirectories, which could hold files and even more subdirectories. Most of the time, you only need to go 4 or 5 levels down from the root. The usual organization is the application directory such as WP-Win, Excel, or DBase, the general work directories like business and personal, then more specific work directories like business/letters or business/bills. The directory path we made is empty of files. What is important about making directories is that it gives us places to store files. Now that we have some directories made specifically for this lesson, we can copy files to and from, plus delete files from those directories without worrying about losing or damaging any other programs or files on your computer. Jan, press F7 to find the MD-BAT /Jan personnel /letters command. Retrieve it. That's right, F9, and enter the number beside it. Now press Home to move the cursor to the beginning of the line and edit MD to read CD and press Enter to go to that directory, which is at the bottom of the path. It is easy to change a make directory to a change directory. Editing commands is a great feature of DOSKEY. This is now the default directory on the C drive. The whole path name is now in the prompt. Now change to the A drive. Type copy space config.sys a space C:. This will copy the config sys file on our A drive to the default directory on C drive, which is the last directory we were in, the BAT/JAN personal letters subdirectory. Every time you designate a drive name only, such as C:, or A:, and not a specific path to a directory, DOS assumes any file commands given are to be executed to the default directory, which is the directory last selected on another drive. Type C:, to change to the C drive, and you're back in the default directory, C:, BAT/JAN personal letters. Now type dir, and there is another copy of your config sys file. Jan, let's put some files in the directories we've made. First type dir space C:, \DOS, \D, star. The Shift and 8 keys together will give you the star symbol. Now press Enter. There are all the files that start with the letter D, including DOSKEY.com.
Professor, I'm still a little confused about the star function. You call the star a wildcard?
That's right, Jan, we do. Wildcards are fairly simple. Just like a poker game where deuces or jokers are wild and stand for any card, DOS wildcards can be used to stand for any character. The first wildcard is the asterisk or a star, which represents a whole word or group of characters. We just use D*** to display all files starting with D. The first star stands for display any characters to the period that start with a D. The period or dot is standard before any extension, and the second star stands for any characters in an extension. The other wildcard is the question mark, which represents only one character. Let's use the question mark to get even more specific. Jan, press any key to get to the end of our file list and type dir space C:, \DOS, \D*, period, a question mark, an L, and another question mark. Then press Enter. Check the screen. You should see these files. Notice that most are .hlp files, but there is one default .slt file because it has an L in the middle of the extension. Wildcards make it easy to select just the files you want. And of course, wildcards make copying easier. Jan, press your up arrow key to get our last command. Turn off your type over or insert key, then press the home key. Once at the beginning of the line, edit it to read copy instead of dir. Now you can add the destination, but you don't need to do it in this case because the files will be copied to where we are. So press Enter and DOS responds with a message, 6 files copied. Jan, type in dir so we can see that the files indeed were copied to this directory. Jan, let's go back to the BAT directory. Type CD::. This takes you from the child directory to its parent directory. Press your up arrow to recall DOSKEY's last command. CD period period, then hit enter. Keep doing so until you reach the BAT directory. Once there, do a DIR. This directory has many subdirectories, but only one level is displayed. You must use the /S switch after the DIR command to show all subdirectories. Now up arrow to the copy C:\DOS\D command and edit to read DOSKEY period star and press enter. Now we've copied just one file to this new default directory. Look at the directory with DIR, and there it is. Jan, there are three kinds of copy commands: DISCOPY, copy, and XCOPY. I told you about DISCOPY in the introductory tape on DOS. And so far in this lesson, I've gone over the copy command. Now let's look at a real time saver, XCOPY. XCOPY has more options than the copy command. Its best feature is that it allows you to copy whole directories, their subdirectories, and all their files in one swift move. Let's look at XCOPY with the help command. Type help, a space, and XCOPY. There is the DOS 6 help screen, which follows the usual Microsoft layout. At the upper left is a file menu and a search menu, accessible with either a mouse or the Alt key plus F or S. At the top right of the screen is another help for help on help. You can press F1 to access this help feature. There is a title bar that says MS-DOS Help XCOPY. Read the explanation of XCOPY. It copies directories, their subdirectories, and files, except hidden and system files. Notice under syntax it says XCOPY source, and then destination is in brackets. Brackets mean that it is an optional item. As with copy, if you don't supply a source, DOS will assume the files to be copied are in the default directory, and then you must supply a destination. Notice that there are more brackets for optional items. They are /A or M and several other letters preceded by a slash. These switches modify how a command will work. Page down to see more about switches. If you want, you can take some time to read through the switches, but we want to go on, so Jan, page up and click on Examples. This example shows how to copy all the files and subdirectories, including any empty subdirectories, from the disk in Drive A to the disk in Drive B. The /S means copy subdirectories, and /E means copy empty subdirectories with no files in them. Let's XCOPY our whole BAT branch on Drive C to Drive A. To get out of help, click on the File menu or press Alt and F to pull it down. You can print out the help screens here or exit to the DOS prompt. Press X to exit help. Once you are back at the prompt, type CD/ to return to the root directory. Type XCOPY, a space, C:\BAT, space, A:\BAT, space, /S/E, and press enter. And DOS will ask, does BAT specify a file name or directory name on the target? DOS has no way of knowing which. Press D to indicate a directory, and XCOPY starts with reading source files, and then displays the file names and their paths as each is copied. Jan, change to the A drive, the destination drive in our XCOPY. Now type in DIR to get a directory listing of A drive's BAT directory. And there is our first copy of the config.sys file. Now type tree to see if XCOPY did indeed copy the whole directory structure to A. And there it is. Now let's look for the copied files in the A drive. Press F7, Jan, then find our command CD-BAT /Jan /personal /letters and enter it. Jan, there it is at number 17. Before you can recall it, you must press a key to finish listing all the DOSKEY commands. Then press F9 and enter 17. Once done, press enter to do the change directory command. Viewers, if you can't find it, retype the command. Once you are in the right directory, do a dir so we can see that all those files in our XCOPY have been copied. There are a lot of slick tricks you can do with XCOPY, like only copying files that have changed since the last backup, or files written after a certain date. Jan, change back to the C drive and up arrow to get the CD to personal\letters directory and press enter. Now let's look at the move command. The move command copies a file or files and then deletes them from the source. Unlike XCOPY, the move command cannot make a copy of our directory tree. Even though move doesn't copy all directories and their subdirectories, you do have the option of creating a new set of directories and subdirectories on the destination for move to copy all the files to. We still have the config sys and d files in our present directory. Viewers, do a dir if you're not sure. Now let's move those files. Type move, a space, ***, space, \_new_bat. Then press enter. DOS will ask if you want to make a directory. We do, so press Y, and these files will be copied into the new directory created on drive A, then deleted from the designated directory on the C drive. The command will show the source path for each file, its destination, and will confirm the delete with OK. Do a dir to see that the files are indeed gone. Then check drive A by typing dir, a space, \_new_bat. Press enter, and there they are. The move command is good because sometimes you'll want to save your files but need to make room on your hard drive. By moving these files to a floppy disk, you accomplish both. To make room on your hard drive, you'll simply want to get rid of unwanted files. You do this by using the delete or erase commands. You'll remember them from my first tape on DOS 6.0 that the syntax for deletion is delete or erase, optionally the drive or path, and a file name to delete a single file. You can specify multiple files by using wildcards.
Professor, what if I delete something by accident? Is there anything I can do?
Glad you asked, Jan. In earlier versions of DOS, deleted files would have been lost for good unless you had programs like Norton Utilities or PC Tools to restore them. Now, DOS has its own program for restoring files. This deletion tracking program is called Undelete. Jan, remember the undelete space /tc command we entered earlier? That command loaded a version of Undelete called Delete Tracker. It is one of 3 levels of protection provided by Undelete, the other 2 being Delete Sentry and Standard. The Delete Sentry mode provides the highest amount of protection against file loss, while Standard provides the least amount of the 3 with Deletion Tracker in the middle. If you are interested in finding out which of these modes best fits your needs, type Undelete, a space, and help for more information. When we moved all the files out of this directory, they were deleted. Now let's see how to get them back. Type Undelete and press enter. Viewers, you should see the message MS-DOS directory contains 7 deleted files. You may see additional information, but disregard it at this point. Under the line Deletion Tracking Method, a line appears with the first recoverable file listed and the question, Undelete? We want to recover this file, so press your Y key to answer yes. Undelete will continue to list the deleted files. Go ahead and recover all the files. Once you finish undeleting the files, do a dir so we can see that the files are definitely undeleted and back in the appropriate directory. Remember, the best time to recover deleted files is as soon as possible. Undelete is nice to have, but you should always handle deleting with care. One more file recovery program available in DOS 6.0 I'd like to quickly mention is the UNFORMAT Command. For instance, if you reformat a disk, then suddenly realize the files on that disk were really needed, simply type UNFORMAT, a space, A:, to recover the disk's information. The next command I want to show you is how to remove a directory with the RD command, which stands for Remove Directory. Let's remove the letters subdirectory. Type RD, a space, letters. Press Enter, and you will get a message that says invalid path not directory or directory not empty. We have files in this directory, and DOS won't let us remove a directory that has files in it. Let's just delete them again. Type del, a space, ***. Then press your Enter key. Go ahead and press your Y key for yes. Don't worry about deleting these files, as they are only copies we've made for this lesson. The real files still are located on your DOS directory. Now let's try RD letters again, and again we get the same message. We know the directory is empty, and it is a directory, so it must be an invalid path. As a safety precaution, DOS will not let you remove a directory while you're in it. We must leave the directory to remove it. Type CD period, and Enter to go up one level to the personal subdirectory. Now up arrow to get the RD letters command and press Enter. There is no response, so we must have done it right. Do a dir and the letters subdirectory is gone. However, the bills subdirectory is still there. Why? Because it is one of two subdirectories under personal. As we've seen, the RD command requires you to delete all the files in a directory and go to another directory to remove the desired directory. Suppose we wanted to delete a directory with all of its subdirectories and files. In a long path like ours, you'd have to go to the last subdirectory first, delete all the files in that directory, and then move up one directory or to some other directory to remove the directory itself. You would repeat the process to remove each directory. That's a lot of work to remove a large directory. Fortunately for us, DOS 6.0 has the Deltree command, which is easier and more dangerous than the RD command. It deletes whole branches of the tree, files and all, so be careful when using this command. Type CD-BAT to change to the BAT subdirectory. Now let's remove all the subdirectories and files below it. We'll use the BAT directory later, so we won't delete it. Type Deltree Jan and press Enter. A message Delete Directory Jan and all its subdirectories will appear. This is a place to think. If you are absolutely sure, as we are here, type a Y and press Enter. If you are not, maybe the old DOS way would be safer. Type in the tree command Jan to see if Deltree did its job. It did. The tree structure is now gone for good. We have finished our move manually using Deltree to delete our source directories and files. Now let's move on to DOS macros and batch files. Both macros and batch files allow you to execute one or more DOS commands by entering a single letter or short name. For example, say for some reason you had to type out the alphabet several times a day. It could get pretty tedious. Wouldn't it be nice if you could complete the entire task by simply pressing a single key? Well, either a macro or batch file can do that for you. Let's look at DOS macros first. Our friend the DOSKEY program is what allows us to write macros. The sequence is type DOSKEY, a space, a single letter or word to represent the DOS command, an equal sign, and the DOS command itself. You run the macro by entering that letter or word and pressing Enter. Let's create a simple macro that will help us with directory listings. This macro will display all our files, just like our setdir command does. Viewers, clear your screen using the CLS command, then type DOSKEY, a space, and a D. Now type an equal sign, the dir, a space, /OGN space /P space $1 and press Enter. Press the D key and Enter, and there are the files sorted just the way we want them.
Professor, what does the $1 do?
Jan, the $1 is a replaceable parameter or a placeholder for something to be typed in later. Sort of like a wildcard placeholder. For example, when you go to a fast food place, they often offer a special deal of a hamburger, fries, and a soft drink for one price. To enter that order, they push one key, like a macro. The hamburger and fries are entered automatically, and then like the $1 symbol, the type of drink is requested. The $1 being the replaceable parameter waiting for you to say what kind of drink you want. Jan, type a D again, but don't press enter yet. Even though our macro's $1 sign isn't displayed, it is sitting there waiting for you to specify a drive name. If you want to look at another drive or directory, just add the correct drive or directory after typing the D key. You can enter any path name and wildcards into this placeholder to find what you want. You can also have more than one placeholder. DOS will allow you up to 9 placeholders, $1 through 9. Jan, type a space, C:/, backslash, DOS backslash, star.exe, and press enter. We now can see all the executable files in the DOS directory. Viewers, be careful when you name a macro the same as a working DOS command. A macro with the same name will supersede it. For example, a macro named del will run in place of the regular del DOS command. Jan, press your spacebar till all the executables are shown. Then type CLS to clear the screen so I can show you another useful macro called where. This macro will help you find files on your hard drive. All you need to know is some part of the name or use the DOS wildcards. Type DOSKEY, a space, the word where, an equal sign, dir, a space, $1, a space, /s/p, and press enter. The /s tells DOS to look through all subdirectories for the desired files. Enter where, a space, C:, do star, dot star, and press enter. The where macro will find all the files that start with do on the hard drive. Jan, the only file matching our parameters is the DOSKEY command file. Using where to find files is easy as long as you can remember at least part of the file name or path. Jan, let's create another macro. This one replaces the Undelete command with a new command sequence. Type in DOSKEY, a space, udel, an equal sign, undelete, a space, /dt. This creates a macro that will undelete files listed in the delete tracking file.
Professor, will this macro work if I delete a file while working in a program like WordPerfect?
Jan, it can undelete the file, but you'd first have to exit WordPerfect to DOS to use undelete. Macros only work within the environment in which they are created. There are WordPerfect macros, Lotus macros, Word macros, DOS macros, etc. Here's a fourth macro. Type in DOSKEY, a space, MC, an equal sign, MD, a space, $1, a space, $T, space, CD, a space, $1, and press enter. Can you see what that does? A major hint is that the $T works as a command separator so that you can have 2 or more commands on one line. That's right, it makes a directory and then moves you to that directory. You may think of lots of things you want to do with macros. Have fun writing them. Remember that DOS macros are stored in RAM. If you turn the machine off, the macros we've created will evaporate. In order to keep them for future use, they will need to be saved to disks so that we can use them again and again. Luckily, we can save all the macros we created into a batch file, which in turn can load them into memory when we want to use them. Unlike macros, which are stored in memory, batch files are stored to disk and will remain there to be called up when you need them. First, make sure we are still in our BAT directory. If not, CD/BAT will take you there. Have you guessed that BAT is short for batch? This is why we saved this directory. We needed a place to store our batch files. Jan, type DOSKEY, a space, /m, and press enter to see what macros you have in memory at this time. Jan, press your up arrow. Now add a greater than sign by pressing the Shift and number 8 keys together and the words macros.bat to the command. Then press the enter key. That saves all the macros that are in memory into a file called macros.bat. DOS is able to save the output of a command to a file. That's what the greater than sign does. It can save the output of any DOS command, such as the dir command, to a file. Now let's look inside macros.bat with the type command. Jan, type space macros.bat to see what's in the file. Type is a great command. It types the contents of a file to the screen. You can use it to read DOS text files and README files that come with programs. An exact duplicate of the macro commands in memory now appears on your screen. Since we use the DOSKEY program to put each of these macros into memory, we need to add the DOSKEY command and a space before each macro in the file. So DOSKEY will put each macro into memory when the batch file is run. Let's use the MS-DOS text editor to do this. Edit is a text-only word processor, perfect for writing batch files, DOS text files, and simple programs. Type edit, space, macros.bat, and press enter. Since our default directory is the BAT directory, macros.bat should appear in the title bar. It is because we have only one file in this directory that the file macros.bat appears. You'll notice that edit follows the usual Microsoft menu bar: File, Edit, Search, and Options. You can either click on the menu items with your mouse or press the Alt key and the first letter in the command to pull down its menu. An option within a menu is accessed by pressing the highlighted letter in that command, clicking on it, or using your arrow keys to select it and pressing enter. Pressing the escape key once will get you out of any menu. Also, clicking your mouse in the workspace area will also clear the menu. Jan, press escape so we can edit our macros.bat file. Jan, your cursor should be at the beginning of the first line, so enter a P symbol, that is the Shift and number 2 keys together. Type the same symbol in front of each line. Now pull down the search menu and select the change option. On the Find What line, type the P symbol, then tab to or click in the Change To line, and enter DOSKEY and a space. Select Change All with either your mouse or keyboard, and all the pieces are now DOSKEY space. Another dialog box opens asking if your change is complete. Press Enter or click on OK to accept the change. Each line is exactly the same as we entered it at the command prompt, which is exactly how batch files work. They enter DOS commands one line at a time until the batch list is completed. If there are any macros you don't want, simply erase them. But be sure not to leave any blank lines. Now click on File and select Save to save our edited file to disk. Your macros are now saved in a working batch file in the BAT directory. We've finished macros.bat for now. You can and should edit it in the future to give you exactly the DOS macros you think you need. Let's run macros.bat. Exit the editor to the C/bat prompt, then type macros and press enter. As it runs, the batch file runs DOSKEY each time to put the macros into memory. Batch files can do more than just load macros. They are a great way to tell the computer to perform any task, especially those that are long and you find yourself doing over and over. Let's create a simple batch file to start a program. Type Edit to get back into the editor. Press your escape key to clear the screen of the dialog box. Jan, on the first line, type in a peace sign and echo off. This tells DOS not to display each line as it is executed. Press enter, then type go to start, which tells the batch file to jump to :start, which we'll enter in a second. On the third line, type starts WordPerfect version 6.0. Press enter. Now type in a colon and the word start. Anything written between go to and start is merely a label or note dictating what the command does and when it was created. Viewers, we are going to use WordPerfect for this demonstration. You can change this file to start any program you have on your machine. All you need to know is the path and the file name for each program. Don't, however, use any Windows programs here. Press Enter here to start a new line, then type our first command, CD-WP60. Press Enter again and type WP, which will start WordPerfect for DOS. When you exit WordPerfect, DOS returns to this batch file. Press Enter and type CD / to return to the root directory. Press Enter again and type CLS to clear the screen. Then type in the words Type Menu. We'll make the menu in a moment. Now use Save As to name and save this file as 1.bat. Notice that the Save As dialog box displays the directory this file will be saved into. In this case, 1.bat is stored in the BAT directory on C drive. Now, click on the OK to complete the Save As process. We need a blank screen to write our new BAT file on, so pull down the File menu and select New. Viewers, your machine may have a menu set up already, or have a batch file that automatically starts a specific program for you. Either way, following along will show you a way to easily start your programs. If you want to use it, you'll have it, and if you don't want to use it, you can always delete it. Okay, let's make a simple menu that tells you what key to press to start the programs on your machine. Jen, tab to approximately the center of the first line and type Menu. When you finish, press Enter twice, then left arrow back to the left side of the screen. Now type a line of plus signs and press Enter twice. Now tab once, then type press, a left-hand bracket, a space, a 1, a space, then a right-hand bracket. Press your tab key and type to start WordPerfect 6.0. Then press Enter. Viewers, here is the menu created for our machine. You need to make a BAT file for each program. You should only make one batch file to open Windows and use Windows to start the programs you want. Space the menu out any way you want. When you're done, save this file as Menu and exit the editor. Everyone type in Type Menu and press Enter to bring our menu on screen. There it is. If you don't like what you see, make notes about what you want to change. Go back to Edit and make your changes. Now start WordPerfect. Type a 1 and press Enter, and the program should start. Good. Now exit WordPerfect and let's see if we return to our menu. It seems to work beautifully. Batch files are great. You can write batch files to do any repetitive DOS task. If you can do it in DOS, you can probably figure out a way to do it with a batch file. You may have noticed that batch files and macros are enough alike that they could be used to execute some of the same commands. You want to use macros for simpler tasks and conversely use batch files for longer, more complex command sequences. Macros can only take up one line of commands and are limited to 127 characters. Batch files have no limit to the number of lines of DOS commands that they can contain. Macros are loaded into RAM and thus can be retrieved faster than an equivalent batch file, which must be loaded from disk. But because of this, macros are always taking up memory, and batch files don't use memory until they are retrieved from disk. You want to use macros for things you do often in a work session, and batch files for things you don't do often. One more thing I should mention. Macros use $1 through 9 for replaceable parameters. However, batch files use $1 through 9 for replaceable parameters. Jan, CD to the BAT directory, Then enter the dir command to see the batch files we have written. We are going to use the menu we created to start programs on our computer. So let's copy it to the root directory, so we'll have less commands in our Autoexec.Bat file, which we'll look at next. Type in copy, a space, menu, a space, C:, backslash, and press enter. The Autoexec.Bat file helps us set up and start the programs you want on your computer. Jan, make sure you are in the root directory. Type in CD backslash. Now type edit a space, Autoexec.Bat, and press enter. This is our Autoexec.Bat file, which is typical for 386 and higher machines. Yours will probably be different, and that's okay. The Autoexec.Bat file automatically executes a series of DOS commands each time you start your computer. You could enter them manually each time, but it would take a long time to do so since there are usually so many to remember. Many of the options we've talked about in this lesson can be added to your Autoexec.Bat file so they will run every time you start it. Viewers, before we do anything, I want to warn you not to change anything until you have a good idea of what we're doing here. You can always come back after the lesson and rerun this part of the tape to guide you through the changes. Also, if the computer you are using belongs to someone else, your company for example, check with the owner, system administrator, or the one who has configured the machine before making any changes. For safety's sake, the first thing we need to do is give this file a different file name so we can keep it just as it is. So if anything does go wrong, you have a copy you know works. So choose Save As from the File menu and rename this file Autoexec.010. Now if you have any problems, you can rename this file Autoexec.Bat, reboot your computer, and it will be the same as it is now. Now save the file again as Autoexec.Bat and overwrite the old one. Now find your path statement. Jan, move your insertion point to the right of the C:, backslash, semicolon. Now type in C:, backslash, bat, backslash, and a semicolon. Now move to the beginning of the next line and press your Enter key to create a blank line. Now on that line type in DOSKEY so DOS will start the DOSKEY every time you start your computer. Press Enter to start a new line and type Undelete, a space, /TC. This turns on the second level of deletion tracking for drive C. If you want the third level of deletion tracking, Sentry Tracking, enter /SC. Please check with help to help you make up your mind. You may add other drives with the /T or S and the drive letter to add deletion, tracking, or Sentry. If you want to continue to use the DOSKEY macros we've written in this lesson, start a new line and type Call Macros. If you use the D macro we wrote, you'll want to set your dir command differently. Jan, on the next line, type set, a space, dircmd, an equal sign, /ogn/w/p, and our files will always display, sorted by name 4 columns wide, 1 page at a time. The last command in the Autoexec.Bat file can start Windows, DOS shell, or type a menu like the one we wrote earlier. Jan, on the last line, type in Type Menu. If everything looks okay, select Save from the File menu to save the changes just made to our Autoexec.Bat. Doing so overwrites the old version. Now exit the editor and press Ctrl-Alt-Delete at the same time to warm boot your computer to see how our new Autoexec.Bat file works. Everything worked well. Our computer rebooted and now displays the menu we just created. Viewers, if you experience problems here, restart your computer. When the message starting MS-DOS appears on screen, press the F5 function key. This will bypass the commands in your config sys and Autoexec.Bat files by starting your computer with a basic configuration. After your computer reboots, you will be in your root directory and may now edit your Autoexec.Bat to fix any problem. If you still experience problems, find your old Autoexec.Bat file, rename it Autoexec.Bat, then reboot your computer. Let's run the memmaker command to optimize your computer's memory usage. Even if you've ran it before, you'll want to do it again as we've made changes to our Autoexec.Bat file. Follow the instructions for Express memmaker unless you are very familiar with DOS. Memmaker will run your computer through a series of tests, then make modifications to your Autoexec.Bat and config sys files and rewrite them. It will also rearrange the system's memory to make more memory available for your application programs. When memmaker finishes its modifications, it will reboot your computer. If your computer doesn't start properly, turn it off and on again, and memmaker will recover automatically. Well, that's all we have time for this lesson, Jan. Thanks for being an excellent helper.
Thanks, Professor. You make learning easy.